It's the 7th of the 4th, 2025, and there is news in the weird and wacky world that is F1. I want to talk principally about Sir Lewis and Scuderia, because what is going on over there? It feels like nonsense, Kes. It feels like the pressure cooker has been dialed to 12. And I say all of this to say this. I'm not sure that some of the criticism about Sir Lewis is wholly warranted. Let me tell you what I'm talking about here. Lewis's performance wasn't fantastic, but he came out post-race and said the following: there's something going on with the car. The back of the car isn't working. There is an upgrade due over the next couple of races, to which the F1 community said, hang on, this sounds a lot like what you were saying last year, Lewis. Wasn't it the rear instability of the Mercedes W15 last year? So what's going on then? How come these excuses keep coming and coming? There was a lot of criticism about Lewis and the terminology that he used. He talked about we as far as the good things that are happening at Scuderia, and then he talked about they when he talked about all the things that need to fix, a multitudinous of problems. And of course, when we're talking about that, if we double click on the stability issue, it will have to do with the suspension. Of course it will. It will have to do with the ride height. Lewis will want to run that car low as possible. That's why he got bloody disqualified at the last Grand Prix now, because he asked Scuderia, Frederick Vasseur et al. Loixera, to run the car lower than the rules and regulations allow. Now they have to jack it up. That suspension, ladies and gentlemen, is too bloody soft. The one they call Charles Leclerc, aka Turtle. I'm getting through it. It's just my voice, Turtle. The one that they call Charles Leclerc, modern day Journalese, he said as follows: that we got issues, it's not perfect, but I'm going to continue to drive through it. Charles Leclerc was one of the drivers of the day yesterday, and that's where the stark contrast comes into play, is it not? That's why so many are so concerned about the growing trend on Lewis Hamilton's side of the grid. Sabotage, they will say. Sir Lewis Hamilton fans, stands, extremists and fundamentalists alike. Why is Sir Lewis Hamilton not getting the upgrades? Why is it only his car that's broken? And I think there's a couple different things that we can pull at here as far as causation. Sir Lewis Hamilton is 40 years old, of course. Is he ever going to be quicker than Charles Leclerc in absolute terms? I would argue not. But this is something different ever on this channel, is objectivity and truth value at the altar of partisanship and or cognitive dissonance. Here's what I think is going on. Speculation and conjecture each and every single time. I think Ferrari are a bit late to the party as far as their upgrade of their front suspension settings. You'll know, pull rod, they were supposed to have done that 12 months ago, converging on the meta that Adrian Newey has laid out for this ground effect spec of car. You want to focus on anti-dive, anti-squat now. You want to make sure that the gap between the underfloor and the black stuff is as stable as possible. This has been the remit of Red Bull all throughout since 2022, focusing on aerodynamic efficiency, therefore leveraging to the best of their ability the ground effect rules and regs. Ferrari haven't done that. They were supposed to do it 12 months ago by putting pull rod on there, but they said stubbornly that they were going to continue to bark up their own design philosophy tree. The CFD told them that, so too their broken wind tunnel. And again, here's where we are. Now, Lewis Hamilton will need himself a stiffer suspension so that he can run that car super low to the ground, even with a full tank of fuel. That's where we're at as far as Lewis Hamilton is concerned, because he's missed the last of the late breakers, is he not? That's why he needs a car that runs so close to the floor, particularly at the rear, lest he wish to be doomed to repeat the mistakes of Christmas past, aka from the boys and girls from Brackley and Brixworth. I want to talk about the reaction to Sir Lewis, because I do feel like sometimes, listen, we've got to talk the truth. I don't think Lewis Hamilton of 2025 is Lewis Hamilton of 2018, nor would you expect him to be. It's an exercise in futility, is it not? But there are other narratives and plot lines that I want to pull at. Frederick Vasseur, first and foremost. It's been 3 races now, and I've yet to see any improvement as far as the race engineer and their communication with their drivers. A Ferrari doomed to be mediocrity. Is that what they're celebrating over there? Because Frederick Vasseur needs to be careful now going in to the second 2 races of a triple header. Why? Because the Italian press and media are looking at him already with the side eye. Don't think for a second that Frederick Vasseur will get through 2025 again unscathed, continue as team principal Scuderia, if he ends up empty-handed without a championship of the driver or constructors variety. The dude who hired him at Stellantis, who was so instrumental in appointing him as team principal, he's now gone. Team principal Frederick Vasseur doesn't have the support in the boardroom, the C-suite exec level bods that he used to have. Ergo, it's more important now than ever that they sort out the bloody car, that they give Sir Lewis the machinery, the wheels commensurate to winning some races, and therefore championships shortly thereafter. I would contend, however, to play devil's advocate for a second, the usual PR ready Sir Lewis Hamilton dropped the ball in his post-race press conference, hence the derision of so many in the F1 community. The we and they thing is not usual Sir Lewis Hamilton affair unless we're talking Mercedes. That's the intonation of 2024 from Sir Lewis. That's us and them. That's blame thesis. And I don't think Sir Lewis Hamilton needs to be doing that. And again, if he wishes to curry favour of both Ferrari and the Italian press and media, this is an exercise in diplomacy now, Sir Lewis. And I would contend that you dropped the ball, sir, in your post-race presser. Not to say that what Sir Lewis, that the meaning, the undertones didn't strike a chord, that they aren't based in some form of reality. I would argue that that's true, that Sir Lewis has been nothing if not a truthsayer all this while, but there is sleight of hand as far as this PR circus that is Ferrari and F1. Lewis normally plays his hands brilliantly, however in this instance I would argue that this was a 6, 7 out of 10 performance from Sir Lewis. He knows, he understands and gets the assignment more than most, but I think he's fuming. That's what's going on here, Daniel, Kayla, Michael, lucky son Steve. I would argue that Lewis Hamilton is just losing his rag. This is Mercedes, right? This is 2024 repeated. I think Lewis Hamilton is cheesed off because again, this is deja vu settings. Yet again, he finds himself in a car using which he can't optimize. The car can't be run low enough, and he's told them as much, and they haven't fixed for it. But it will take time, Sir Lewis. This is rear suspension settings. The upgrades will come over the next couple of races, but by that time, if word on the F1 curb is to be believed, it might be too late. The intonation, the implication, even coming out from Maranello, Milan et al., is that they will make a decision as at the Monaco Grand Prix this year as far as their driver hierarchy, whichever one of the Ferrari pairing is in front, whether that's Sir Lewis or Charles Leclerc, as at the Monaco Grand Prix, they will get first order priority, they will get deference, and they will be the one going for the Drivers' Championship in 2025. That means something for Sir Lewis. It's a preparation race, and I would argue that his urgency in the post-race press conference is a function of this. It has to matter. Ferrari need to bring what they need to bring, the bloody suspension, make it stiffer at the rear so that Sir Lewis can run it lower and not infringe upon the skid plank just like it did at the Chinese Grand Prix as a function of the sprint and race proper. Ferrari, please sort this out. Frederick Vasseur, Loic Serra, Scuderia Ferrari, John Elkann, your move.